Hello everyone and welcome to an explanation video on gradable and ungradable adjectives in English. So what are adjectives? Adjectives are the words that describe a noun, describe a quality of a noun, a quality that something possesses. There are tons of adjectives in the English language and you know the majority of them. For example, words like big, small, crazy, hot, cold, bad, tiny, etc. Adjectives are divided in English into gradable and ungradable. As the name already tells you, gradable is something where you can build the grades of comparison, and ungradable is something you don't. But let's take a look at more examples. Most adjectives are gradable. They describe a different levels of quality. For example, big, bigger, the biggest. Small, smaller, the smallest. Hot, hotter, the hottest. Pay attention to that double T and double G. There are also some degrees of adjectives that have to be memorized. They do not come with the suffix er and with the suffix es. T, you know that already? Good, better, the best, bad, worse, the worst. So to sum up, gradable adjectives make the meaning stronger or weaker. This room is bigger than my last room. This room is smaller than the last room. They represent a point on a scale. For example, if we have a cup of tea here in the beginning, when you have just made it, it's very hot. And if you wait long enough, it's cold. So it was hotter half an hour ago. And we can use the particle very to make something stronger. For example, it is a very small computer. It is a very hot tea. Be careful drinking it. It is very bad to scream at your children. Mind that you cannot use very with the degrees of comparison, so only with this initial form. Ungradable adjectives. What are they? Ungradable adjectives define the meaning of an adjective as an extreme or absolute, and they cannot make the meaning of something you describe stronger or weaker because it's already an extreme or absolute meaning. Let's take a look at the examples. Free, you cannot say freer, the freest, it's already free. Freezing, if it's freezing, there is no way to grade it because it's already very cold. Priceless, no price. Boiling, it's boiling hot. They represent limits on the scale, so nothing can go beyond that. That's the limit. And if you are not sure, you can add a particle absolutely to make your ungradable adjective even stronger. For example, it's absolutely free. It's absolutely freezing outside today. Your education is absolutely priceless, and so on. Now let's take a look at both groups, gradable and ungradable adjectives. Sometimes in the language you have both variants. So you have a gradable adjective like tired, but you also have ungradable equivalent for that. So if you have a word tired, you can always say, I am more tired today than I was yesterday. But if you want to sound more native-like, you would say, I am exhausted. Angry, furious. If you say, well, I'm very angry with you, okay, you're angry. But if you say I'm furious, it's even stronger. There is nothing stronger than being furious when you're angry at someone. Hungry, starving. If you come home after a long day and you say, well, I'm hungry, okay, you are hungry. But if you say I'm starving, then you have a really, what you say in German, Heißhunger. You are very, very hungry. Interesting, exciting. It's an interesting book. Okay, that's good. But it's a very exciting book. Well, it's one of the best, I would say. Upset, devastated. You have seen no solution. You're very, very, very upset. Unusual is unique. So one of a kind. Important, something is important, but it's very, very important. It's essential. There are also different ways how to strengthen your adjective. Let's take a look at some of them. We can use particles, or we can call them modifiers. So, rather, really, extremely, terribly, most, and pretty. For example, spending holidays with your family is extremely exciting, or actually I wrote down really exciting. So it's not only very interesting, but it's very, very interesting. So really exciting. The student was pretty upset after failing the exam. Pretty doesn't mean good, means he's very upset. But instead of saying very all the time, if you want to sound more native and more fluent, I would go for modifiers indicated over here. Also, just like what I have just said, we use very and adjective to strengthen the meaning. It's good, but it's much better to have an adverb plus adjective to make you sound more proficient, fluent, or native-like. For example, my student was bitterly disappointed at his exam results. This group is highly intelligent. The same thing goes with the other way. We can also weaken the meaning of an adjective. For that, we use modifiers like fairly, slightly, a bit, a little bit. A bit and a little bit is something that is informal. So if you're talking to your friends or talking to your parents, your acquaintances, you can use informal things like a little bit, a little. Somewhat is more formal. So if you're at the university context, talking to your professor or instructor, I would go for somewhat. For example, I felt a bit sick this morning. She was slightly drunk when she called him last night. A little bit. Mark was somewhat confused with the new regulations. Thank you very much for watching this explanation video. If you have any questions, leave your comments.